Hello, my friends, and happy New Year. Wow, can you believe it? Can you believe it? It is 2025. We are here recording our very first episode of 2025. So I hope it'll be a good one. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, looking forward to, as I always say, a whole lot of cool things for this year. So, I guess without further ado, we'll get right into it. I don't have a whole lot of like housekeeping topics to discuss. One thing I will say is that I do have a few guests cooking, kind of marinating, and maybe kind of sort of going to happen soon. But it's just a little tough for me right now to schedule a big block of time to meet with someone to do a 3-hour podcast, most likely, because when I have guests we go long. It's hard for me to do that right now because Tushabi's visiting. So once he is no longer visiting, then probably I would say maybe by the third episode of the year, hopefully we could have a special guest, maybe. But I've got a few people marinating in the special guestness, so we will see who gets on first and what we do and stuff. But yeah. Any hoodles. So I guess that's my only real housekeeping thing for now. I kind of wanted to kick it off before I get into any of the other questions. I had a fun little a fun or interesting interaction, and I kind of wanted to talk about it, and I don't know, just kind of relate it back to some other things that we talked about before, because I thought it was kind of funny how what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but it felt like it matched up to some other things we were talking about before around perception. So I'll give you the situation. So the other day, Gameworka and I were playing League of Legends, and we had invited someone, which I was thinking about whether I should name the person or not, which I guess it's not really a big thing or anything, but just in case, it's not someone who listens to the podcast, so I will respectfully not name them as the person. But anyway, so Gamework and I were playing League, and we talked about, we could invite this person to play with us. So the day before we were like gonna play League, I invited the person. Like, I sent them a message and said, hey, we're gonna play League tomorrow, and if you want to join us, that'd be really cool. And so I sent the message, and they didn't respond, which, of course, no problem. Sometimes you think you think you're going to get back to a message or something, and you forget or whatever. But they didn't respond. Obviously, no problem at all. So the day comes, and they still haven't responded. Gamework and I are all ready to play League, and so I said to Gamework, I go, well, they didn't respond to me. They completely they ghosted me. So I'm not going to say anything else to them. Like, I invited them, but I don't want to like bother them. And so Gameworka said, okay, well, I'll message them. So he messaged them, and they responded right away. So I was like, okay, well, clearly they're available, and or they're talking, and Gameworka mentioned we're playing League. So then I sent the person a message as well. And so basically I sent the message as well. We sent a couple messages, and they said like, oh, good luck in your games. Like, cause I guess Gameworka told them we're playing League. And so then Gameworka and I are sitting in the League of Legends lobby, and we're sitting there, and we're like, so like, what does that mean? Because like, here's my perception of the situation, right? I invited this person. They didn't respond, and then like they know we're playing, and they know I've invited them, and they said good luck in your game. So to me, that is politely saying like, no thank you, without saying it directly. I think it's a pretty, like, to me it's very clear that that's a no thank you, right? And so I was like, well, like, I already asked them, they told me good luck with your game, so like, I'm not going to ask them again like that. I've already asked them. So we were sitting there, and I'm going like literally, I'm like, we're like having a discussion, and I'm like, okay, so is this person? Are they politely telling me no, I don't want to play with you? Like, no, thank you, or are they just kind of being a bottom? That's the exact verbiage I use. But sorry, I mean, I'm just saying, are they just being a little shy, and they maybe for whatever reason? Again, I don't think there's any indication that I gave that that I or we didn't want them there. I thought I pretty clearly expressed that we wanted them there, but maybe they're just being shy. And so I'm like, well, I don't know, but in my perception, it's a very clear, like they don't want to play, but they could just be being a bottom. And so Game Marcus said, screw it. Like, he hadn't technically asked, so he asked them straight up, and they said, oh, sure, I'd love to play. So then they joined us. We had a good time. All was great. It was fun. I teased them about it when they got in our call, but like, I guess that's the thing, right? About perception, right? Is like, if we hadn't asked again, which, my normal social, I don't ask twice, like for one thing, right? Like if I invite you to something and you tell me no, or you tell me like, or you don't answer or something, like I'm not going to like keep bugging you, right? Like I asked, I very clearly made it, I made it very clear that we wanted them there, in my opinion. And to them, maybe I didn't make it clear. Maybe their perception was like, oh, I don't know if they want me there. But in my perception, it was very clear that we wanted them there, and they didn't want to be there. So I don't know. It kind of comes back. We've had a lot of questions about like, oh, I'm getting the perception that this person doesn't like me or something, or like they don't want to hang out with me. Like we've had a lot of topics about that, right, over the course of the podcast. And I just think this example is a really, really good example of like what I've always said is like, sometimes you need to take a step back. And that's what we did, right? Because we could have just like said, okay, well, they're not playing, like, well, let's just go. But both Game Work and I took a step back, and we actually analyzed the situation. Are they just like, they don't want to hang out with us? Are they busy? Or like, or are they maybe just reading the situation differently than we think they should, or think that they should be perceiving the situation? They're not perceiving it that way. And so, yeah, like I said, I think it goes back to like, sometimes take a step back and analyze those kinds of situations where, a lot of the time we can jump to conclusions. And I'll admit, I mean, I think I was somewhat justified in thinking that, but like my immediate conclusion was like, okay, they don't want to play with me. Like they don't want to play with us. They don't want to hang out with us. Okay. Whatever. But obviously I was wrong. Right. And it's just, for me in particular, it's tough for me to fathom because I feel like I'm a very direct person. And so for me, it's hard for me to fathom that someone could read my intentions wrong. Like I'm always amazed because there's others too I will say or do something or make an action that I think is really clear. And then, it might not be interpreted as clearly as I think it should be. And I think I'm like the most clear, direct person, and I'm very straightforward, and like I say what's on my mind, and I am like very upfront, honest. So it's definitely like a situation where if and I don't know if this sounds weird to say, but like if I can be misconstrued, I feel like anyone could easily be misconstrued in their words or whatever might be not perceived the way that they think those words should be perceived by the person that they're talking to. And so maybe the person doesn't dislike you. They just think that you don't like them for whatever reason, or like they need a little additional reassurance. And I mean, that's kind of what it was in this case. Like, hey, they needed a little extra reassurance that like we were inviting them and we wanted them to come. And again, I thought it was really clear, but what's clear to you might not be clear to someone else. So I think, again, the key is assessing the situation and just kind of empowering yourself to not assume something, not assume that they're going to perceive it this way. Even if you think it's very obvious, it might not be so obvious. So I don't know. I thought that was a very kind of interesting topic to kick off our year, since that's something we've definitely talked about a lot over the course of the last few months of the podcast, because people naturally worry and they take actions sometimes out of context, or they feel like this person doesn't like me, and really that's not the situation at all. For example, it's just sometimes people read situations wrong. I've read situations wrong as well. And I think I have a pretty good read on situations for the most part, but I've definitely made really, really, really bad social reads from time to time. So, you know what? I think it just kind of further emphasizes this was a great example, and it's like when you get like a really good example of like a thing that you talk about that like validates what you're talking about. That was my great example, so it was pretty funny. But yeah, so that is that story. Next thing I kind of wanted to talk about was I'm thinking about doing a new series, and I kind of hesitate to talk about this because I don't want to box myself in, but I was thinking like if I did for the YouTube, if I did like a Stardew Valley series, because I still want to play Stardew, and I kind of want to do it in a content creation kind of way. So maybe I'll start a new Stardew series where I post episodes on Saturday and Sunday, and we'll call it Stardew Saturday and Stardew Sunday. Maybe. That's something I've been really heavily thinking about, which I don't know when it would debut. Not right away, again, because I'm kind of have company over. So I don't want to do it right away, but maybe we could aim for like a February start date. On that same note, I want to get what do you call it? A Sunday stream in. Like I said, my goal is one Sunday stream a month. So I want to have a Sunday stream in January, which I'm definitely not this weekend because I've already posted the schedule. But maybe one of the last 2 weeks of January. I just have to kind of see, but that's definitely happening. And Stardew Saturday, Stardew Sunday sounds kind of fun. It will be a challenge, I guess, recording another game along with Omori. But you guys know me, I stretch myself thin. And I don't know how long the Stardew Saturday and Sunday, like how long that series will go to. Let's think. 8 episodes, so 96 episodes would be over the course of the year, which for a 10-minute video is 960 minutes, which is what, 16 hours? So, okay, over the course of the year, I need to record 16 hours, roughly, of Stardew. That actually seems relatively doable. I mean, that's a little over an hour a month. I'm sure I could probably fit in an hour of Stardew a week, maybe somewhere. Well, I don't want to say that. I might be jinxing myself, but I think I can I think I can get Stardew stuff ready by February. So maybe I'll start recording some episodes in private and secret. And if you listen to the podcast, then you'll know the secret because you're such a good little listener. Which, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's still listening. Maybe Game Orca, Otterly, Chili Mex, and Kel, but they're all maybe behind too. I don't know. You never know. I don't know who else listens. If you listen to the podcast, post in the podcast discussion channel, because I don't know. It'd be cool to know that someone else listens regularly to the podcast. Yeah, because otherwise, I don't know. Those are like the 4 people that I know listen to some extent, So I don't know. We'll see what's popping. But yeah, that's I guess that's where we're at with that. So Stardew Sunday, Stardew Saturday. It's going down. Prepare your bodies. I think it's going down. I'm pretty sure it's going down. I've been thinking about it a good amount, and I'm pretty sure it's happening. But I guess it's not fully locked in, so hopefully if you see this and then I decide for some reason not to do it, then you won't hate me. But if you do hate me, it's okay. I understand. Sometimes you just got to have some hatred. That's what Game Orca taught me. That's his life lesson to me. Sometimes you just need some hatred, and then yay, that's how it goes. All right, so thus far we only have one podcast question, so I'm going to answer the one question for now, and then we will we'll do the rest as they come in. So the very first question of the year by a mystery person. They didn't even want to give their name to get a like a recognition as the first podcast question asker of the year. they missed their opportunity to be famous. They could have been a trivia fact on my stream for this year. But anyway, their question is an interesting one that I'm gonna have to actually kind of think about a little bit. And the question is, if you were a Pokemon gym leader, what type do you represent, and what's your team composed of in a rematch, i.e. a full team of 6? Okay. So, I mean, the easy answer is electric, right? But I'm not too sure. Let's see if I can make a good electric team. I'm going to pull up a Pokemon list. And I'm gonna see if I can make a team that I would like with an all electric gym. So obviously, there's we don't need a also since they're Alolan. Wow, Alolan, Geodude, and stuff are electric types. I've never heard of that. Is that true? Huh. I just learned something new. I just saw Geodude, Graveler, and Golem, but it's the Alolan ones. But wow. Okay, well, interesting. Any hoodles. The obvious first choice is Raichu, right? I mean, it's the least exciting. It's the least surprising one. So electric Raichu for sure. Raichu 100%. So I've talked about it a lot. But I'm actually a big fan of Electrode. I love Electrode. It's such a funny Pokemon. He's just got this funny face. He's just a big old ball. So I'm actually a huge fan of Electrode. I'm probably one of the biggest Electrode fans in the world. But I'm going to sit on that one for now because I don't want to box myself in. So we definitely have Raichu. The next obvious choice for me is Jolteon. I'm a huge Jolteon fan as well. He might be my favorite. Evolution. At least right in the top couple. I mean, I don't know. I always make cases because I really love the first 3 evolutions, and I love Umbreon as well. Like, I guess those are my top 4 for sure. So yeah, like he's great. So Jolteon for sure. So Raichu and Jolteon is our starting. After that, I would definitely say Luxray. I'm a big Luxray fan, and when I played Gen 4 for the first time, Shinx was one of the things that kind of drew me in, because I was like playing this new gen, and I go, well, this looks interesting. Let's see what game is like. And then there's a little electric type kitty cat thing, and I'm like, wow, that's really cute. So let's get him. So we'll say for now, Raichu, Jolteon, and Luxray. Let's look around a little bit more. And I'm not convinced for sure that there's going to be a whole team. I'm just that's my initial, I was, okay, yeah, I actually am pretty boxed out. There's not really much else I want. We're out of picks already. I mean, I could force in a Manectric, Electrode, and like Ampharos or something, but I don't feel good about that team. So let's try something else. Let's try a water type, because I do like water types a lot, okay? Let's try water types. Okay? All right, here we go. So, here we go. Come on. Okay. So here we are on the water type page. There's twice as many water types. So that's great. The first one I'm going to choose. So this was, and you may not know this. Here's a fun Raichu fact. When I was a kid, sometimes as a kid, you're like a little, what's the word? You just want to be different. So you're like, I'm going to choose a favorite Pokemon that no one has. I'm so cool. Well, that was me. And my favorite Pokemon as a little kid was Dugong. So I'm going to start with Dugong. He still has a special place in my heart. He's obviously nowhere near my favorite Pokemon now, but he has a special place in my heart because as a young, rebellious little kid, I chose him as my favorite. So Dugong is going to be first. I see a few other good choices, but I'm going to circle around and let's see what we can get. My next choice, I'm just going to go with Vaporeon because, again, he's in the running for my favorite evolution. I love Vaporeon. So he's definitely getting a look. Dugong and Vaporeon. After that, I'm going to go with Feraligatr, who, is one of my favorite starter evolutions of all time. Definitely. Totodile is in my top 5 very easily, I would say, for starters. And I can't say how much higher than that he is, but he's very, very easily in my top 5. So let's go with Feraligatr. So we've got Dewgong, we've got Vaporeon, we've got Feraligatr. Looking through the list here, there's some other good choices, but we're going to skip over some decent choices, and we're going to go straight to the most obvious choice for Raichu, because if you know Raichu, he's a very obsessed, very, 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 very stupidly obsessed with this little water guy named Weasel. And so we're going to go with Floatzel as our 4th choice on this team. So we've got, once again, we've got Dewgong, Vaporeon, Feraligatr, and Floatzel. So continuing on from there, let's keep looking. There's a lot more water types here. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through the list, and I'm just seeing if there's anything else that really jumps out at me, because I'm going to be honest with you right now. There's nothing, well, there's some other choices. Like, I like a lot of water type starters. Like, I could easily go with more, but I don't know if I want to spam my team with starters. So I'm going to go with an off-the-wall pick for my number 5, and I'm going to go with Lantern. I think Lantern is such a cool Pokemon because I remember, like, learning that there was a water and electric type, and I was like, whoa, that is so cool, because you guys know me. I love electric types. I am an electric type. I'm obsessed with electric types. So to have that was so cool to me, and plus I think he's a pretty good Pokemon. He's kind of like he's kind of good. So we're gonna go with Lantern. So we've got Dewgong, Vaporeon, Lantern, Feraligatr, and Floatzel. And our number 6 pick is, there's a lot of interesting choices. I might go with an off the wall one. I have a few different ideas, and like I'm gonna give some honorable mentions because I love water types. So for me, the last few choices are between. Listen, Blastoise is great, and if I wanted another starter, Blastoise would be perfectly good. But I feel like kind of lame spamming all the starters. On that same boat, I love Swampert. I've considered Swampert on the team. I love Empoleon, and I love Greninja. Obviously, who doesn't? So any of those could be good choices. I'm actually a big Golduck fan, believe it or not. Which I don't know. Do a lot of people like Golduck? I don't know. I've always loved Golduck. There's him. There's a lot of great water types. I mean, I'm looking through the list and there are a ton, but none of them jumped out at me except one. And I think I think we would go with this just because for me as well, like I have good memories with him because he was the hero in my freaking Nuzlocke on stream, which by the way, I should do another Nuzlocke stream someday, huh? Maybe I should do another Nuzlocke stream. That might be fun. Should we do that? Maybe. It's a lot of pressure, dude. When I did my original Nuzlocke, I had like 2 viewers, so it was no pressure. But if I did it again, can you imagine? Chat's going to be popping off when I lose my best Pokemon. They're going to be laughing at me so hard. Wish I had that VOD still. But anyway, the obvious choice for me for my 6th pick is Gyarados. And not only is he a great Pokemon, but I have a certain connection to him because of what he did for me in my wonderful run. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to fathom it, like as a gym leader. Like as a gym leader, you're supposed to pick like a really overpowered, like awesome, like strong team, right? Are you? I mean, or are you just supposed to choose who you like? I don't know, because I've always been a choose who I like guy. I've never really liked Pokemon who like they're good, so I'm choosing them. So for me, it's mostly about what I like, and for me, that means my team is set as Dewgong, Gyarados, Vaporeon, Lantern, Feraligatr, and Floatzel. And that, my friends, is our team, which I think it's actually a decent team. I mean, I don't really know much about competitive stuff or anything really about Pokemon beyond like, basic things that you learn from playing the games and, like who you like or who you think is cute or who you think is cool. So maybe it's not a good team, but I don't care. I don't care because that's my team. We've locked it in. So now I am a water type trainer, and that is my gym. Oh, I like it. I just got the thing. Like, I'm an electric type, so I have power over the water type. So that's why I run them. Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool team. All right. So we are moving on to the next question. And you know what? I think this is going to be one that we're going to have. There's going to be some legs on this one, in the sense that we can talk about it, and it might bring out some tangents. And so I think this will be a good one. So anyway, the question is from Anonymous, and I don't know if this is a joke. It says Anonymous, and then in parentheses, but you can know who it is. And then it says in parentheses again, please don't read this next part out loud. And then in parentheses, it says who it is. I don't know if that's a joke and if I can say the name anyway, but I guess we won't, just in case it's not a joke, we'll be very serious. I have a very serious look on my face. Can you see how serious my face is right now? It is the most serious face you have ever seen in your life. So anyway, the question is, what would you do if, after a long time of not feeling anything in particular for anyone, you sense that you're actually catching feelings for someone? Like, you talk a lot more often than you used to, and you enjoy it every time it happens. You can sense that there could be potentially some mutual interest, but there's a huge problem. This person lives on the complete opposite side of the planet, so the chances of something meaningful happening are immediately drastically lower. What do you do? Do you still shoot your shot? Now, I don't think, first off, I guess they're lower. Yeah, you know what? They're lower. We don't have to beat around the bush. Sure, they're more difficult. Having something very far away, but many people work, and if we want to give one example from our community, Game Orca moved from Scotland to New Zealand to be with his partner. So there's one frickin' example there. So you have a resource you could utilize, Mr. Mystery Person. If you needed to talk to someone about what that whole thing looks like of moving across the world for your partner. So there's that. But yeah, here's the thing, right? I'm a very logical person, right? So I have thought about it a lot, and even for me, like, would I logically date someone that was from another country or very, very, very far away? Right. And I don't know if you can just, like, even someone like me who is super, super logical and thinks everything through and analyzes everything and is, like, very just kind of overly analytical of everything. Even for me, I can't say that I wouldn't consider it if a situation like that came up. And because here's the thing, right? You don't really control who you get feelings for, right? So if you have feelings for someone and you love them that much and you see a future with them and you want to try to, make something with them, you can't control that you have that feeling. I guess you can suppress it forever until it goes away, maybe, but like, that sounds kind of crappy, doesn't it? So I think, like anything, it requires a conversation. So what would you do, or do you still shoot your shot? If I had romantic interest in someone from another country, again, or across the world, or really far away, whatever it may be, what would I do? I would probably play it the same as I would with anyone. With anyone I was romantically interested in, and I would, we started off the podcast with the way I would, try to land a dude if I was trying to land someone. But let it progress. Let the relationship kind of progress and grow. And when I say relationship, just so you know, I'm not saying like a romantic relationship right now. Like, let the friendship. That's what I meant when I said relationship there. So let the relationship kind of grow and let it evolve to where it will be. And if and when it reaches a point where, you get to that point where it's like, all right, time to confess feelings, or like time to, shoot, quote unquote, shoot my shot. Let them know how I feel. That's the first step, right? Let's say, let's just role play as person asking this question. Let's role play as them. So they go and they tell this person, like, whatever, they're having a really nice conversation one night, let's just say, and they decide, this person decides, okay, well, I'm gonna just be honest and upfront with my crush. We'll just call it a crush, and we'll say, hey, crush, I just wanted to let you know that I have feelings for you, and or whatever it may be. So you say that, and then the crush responds back and says, hey, I have feelings for you as well. So yay, right? Step one, yay, they agree. And so cool. So now you're at a level where, okay, well, we both have feelings for each other. And mind you, having mutual feelings does not mean that there is or will be a relationship, but it means that you're on the same page there, at least. So you both have feelings for each other, and presumably you would like to continue to grow that, and at least attempt, presumably, to see where it might take you. So I think the first honest conversation I would have, and here's the conversation I would have if I was with someone, even if they weren't in another country, even if they just lived far away, and your own situation, but I'm just speaking from my situation, right? For my situation, there would be an upfront conversation of, hey, like, for me, and here's the conversation. I'm just going to be myself, okay? Hey, I own a home. I'm very settled down here. I have a lot of stuff here. My family is close by. Like, I don't see myself moving to another country, like, or even across the United States, or even to like an adjacent country or somewhere like relatively close. Like, I can't see that for myself. And I understand, like, I would completely understand if it was a deal breaker for someone, right? Like, they didn't think it was fair that they had to be the one to move, or they also had obligations that kept them in their home country or their home wherever they live, or, again, whether it be across the United States or whether it be in Canada, or, whether it be freaking Europe or Australia, whatever it may be, right? Like, wherever they are. Like, I would be understanding of that, but I think the key is to have that conversation, and it's a really kind of big conversation. So if you can have this conversation productively with that person, I mean, I think it lends more to the fact that you and that person may have good compatibility in communication. Which, by the way, having good communication is like the absolute backbone to a relationship. And if you're able to talk about like, everyone can talk about the easy things, right? It's very, very easy to talk about like, hey, I love you, you're awesome. Like, let's talk about video games, or let's talk about how sexy you are, Like, that stuff's easy, dude. But when you have the tough conversations, like, hey, here's a problem. And the problem we have is that we are across the world from each other. So how are we going to solve this problem? What are the steps that we're going to take to solve this? Hey, we're going to be long distance for this amount of time because, we can't do anything right away, but maybe, like, yeah. So I think have the conversation, basically, is step one. Communicate very well with them, and just have the flat out conversation. Maybe you're both willing to move if needed. Maybe only one of you can move, which makes the decision a little easier. Maybe you guys have a dream place that you'd like to end up. Maybe that mystery person says, I don't really like where I live very much. Like, I think it'd be cool to go live in Italy. Well, I guess I kind of doxed anyway. Anyway. Well. Anyway. So anyway, yeah. So. Right, you're so smart. But yeah, basically. All right. Get yourself composed, right? You get yourself composed. But yeah, so you have that conversation. Maybe they want to come to you. Maybe you want to go to them. Or maybe one of you has a reason that you can't leave. And different people have different things, right? Like, some people aren't close with their family. Maybe someone else would be okay with leaving their family. For me, I know that my parents are getting older and they rely on me a lot. I'm like their rock. So I am aware of the fact that it would be difficult for me to move to somewhere far away where I couldn't see them very often, because I know that they're going to be needing me, and that is one one like roadblock that I would have to moving anywhere far away. But yeah, I think is step number one. So have the conversation. And I don't think it's a deal breaker at all. I think if you want to make it work, you can make it work. But someone is going to have to make that sacrifice. I know for Game Work, it was moving across the world. He made a sacrifice for his partner, and I'm sure his partner appreciates that. But like someone is going to have to make a big sacrifice. And I think another thing, like another factor of that, which, you know, I haven't particularly experienced. My relationship was like, it was technically long distance, but not that long, like a few hours away driving. So not that far, but I got lucky there. But yeah, so someone's gonna be making a sacrifice, and I feel like the challenge can also be, and so you need to stay in communication. Even, you know, we're talking way ahead now. You're like actually there, and like in the relationship, someone moved. Like the challenge is, I think there would be a power imbalance to some extent. Like the person that moved is now in a new country, presumably, and they're kind of like, they moved their whole life to be with you, or like vice versa. And so whoever is like the one that did the moving, there's kind of a power imbalance. So I think if you're the person that they moved to you, that's something to consider. Like, you know, they upturned their whole life. So I need to kind of make sure that it's, you know, I don't know if I want to say it's worth it to them, but like I need to just kind of be aware of that power imbalance, that like they're in this country where they don't know anyone else, presumably only me, and like it's tough. So I think that's an important thing to think about. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, would I shoot my shot with someone that was very far away? Absolutely. And if I had feelings for that person, I would take the chance. I mean, again, I don't know your situation. Like, I don't know what they're saying to you, or what kind of, like, that's kind of the challenge, right? Is like, I'm not a fly on your wall listening to the conversations where I can be like, oh yeah, they're definitely interested in you. Go for it, bro. But like, yeah, it's just let it progress, and then have the conversation. Have the conversation up front. Have the conversation very soon. Don't date online for like 2 years and then find out, oh, they don't ever want to move, so this isn't going to work because they won't move. So like that is just awkward. So have the conversation right away and say like, hey, here are the roadblocks. And for me, before I get into another relationship, like officially, where like the whole world knows it and like everyone's aware, like there's going to be conversations, and we're going to make sure that we're on the same page with I mean, there's so many different aspects of life, but like moving is only one of them. But like, there's a lot of different things to consider when starting any relationship. So I think the upfront communication is very important. And probably for someone who is going to be ultra long distance like that, that is like the first point of conversation that I would have is, hey, you know, here's where we're at, and here's like how do we intend to tackle this? Like, let's talk it out. Have a good conversation. Have that chat. And let me see what else the question said. Okay, yeah. So to be fair, it is harder. I'm agreeing with you. It is harder, but I don't think it's insurmountable at all. I mean, like I said, we have an example right in our community where someone did it. So just to be upfront and honest, and I don't know, mystery person, if you are someone who is open to leaving your country, leaving your family behind. I don't know, and it's kind of different for different people, right? Like some people would be okay with that, and for me, it's not even like that I need to see my family all the time, but I do feel some level of responsibility for me to be nearby enough that in case of something happened, I could be there very quickly, or, you know, that I could potentially help them with things as they age more and more. But not everyone has that same obligation. Some people are like, oh, hell yeah, I'm totally fine. Like, I don't have a good bond with my family. I'm out. I do have a good bond with my family. So for me, it would be a challenge. But I know for certain people, that's not a roadblock at all. So that's great. So if at least one of you doesn't have a roadblock to moving, then you can you can have that in your pocket. I mean, if neither of you can move, probably don't start an online relationship, because if neither of you are going to, I mean, I guess maybe circumstances could change in the future, but I wouldn't recommend getting into a long distance relationship if neither of you are going to be willing to move. And, it's not going to be easy, obviously. Like, I moved one state away and it was hard as hell. So I can tell you, like, whatever, if one of you have to move long distance, it's going to be really hard. But again, that's where you work as a team. You are a part. If you're in a relationship with them, you're a team. So you work on it together. You help ease the burden for them, or vice versa. Like, the one that's not moving can help ease the burden of the one that is moving by doing whatever they can. I mean, even if that means like flying out to help them, get ready for the move, or if that means like doing, like, I don't know, whatever stuff you can do, even helping financially or whatever it may be, to help them out. Like, you need to work as a team. And if you are romantically interested in this person, they're romantically interested in you, then I would say, just have talks, just communicate. That's, at the end of the day, communication is just so unbelievably essential. Yeah, to be like completely honest, I think actually like having long distance can be a good, or like something that you need to, a problem you need to work through can be a good kind of bonding experience to the start of a relationship, in the sense that, like, when you're able to see that you work as a team well, I think it's really, really powerful. Like, whatever that experience may be, I think being able to get like a good experience like that, where it's like, wow, we're a really good team, and we can communicate really well, like, is super powerful. So I actually think it's, it is a huge challenge. Obviously, like, moving's always a challenge, especially to like a freaking new country. That's insane. But like, it's I guess this is just, they say like, all right, you putting a positive spin on things, but it is in the sense of like, it's an obstacle to overcome together, and you get to kind of have that experience of overcoming something really big together. And I'm sure, like, I haven't done like a long distance like that, but I know like closing the long distance was like the most amazing feeling. Like, holy crap, we finally did it. Like, and even like moving here, not like closing the distance, because I was here with my ex, like moving together, but like I like, in that sense, it's like, it's such a big and powerful, like, accomplished feeling. I think it really, I feel like it would very much add to the bond of like overcoming something like that. And maybe Game Orca can share his thoughts. Darn it, this would have been a great episode for him. We should have saved this question for his episode, because I'm sure he would have had some good insight. But yeah, no, I would try to look at it on that sense, and have a talk with them. I'm sure they're scared too of like knowing the distance, but it's worth, and it's not worth, I think, writing it off completely before it even happens. But there can be challenges, and like, I know for me, like, not necessarily like a distance issue, but like, I've been in talks like with people, like romantic talks, where it's like, hey, like, we're interested in each other, but there's these roadblocks. Like, what, like, let's, like, I think we can work through them, but like, let's talk about this. And like, I think that's the key, is like, it's not different people. There's like a bajillion different roadblocks you can have. Distance is only one of them. And I think any roadblock, I mean, for the most part, any roadblock is worth at least looking into. Maybe that's just me as like a problem solver, but when I see a problem, I always attempt to solve it. So I would say, how can we solve this? Is this a solvable problem? And maybe it's not. And maybe it's something where it's like, well, I guess we need to not do this right now. And again, things change. So let's say, like, what if you have that talk, and then you and the person kind of agree, like, I'm not sure either one of us is like going to be okay moving, or is going to be comfortable moving. Like, I'm not sure this is going to be a thing that we can do. And so if you have that really real conversation, and that is the outcome of it, like, okay, that's kind of sad, right? Like, darn. But again, it doesn't mean things can't change. Like, maybe you guys decide like you're still really close. you decide, hey, let's meet up for a con or something, right? You go to that con, you have like a really wonderful time together, like a really, really wonderful time together. And then you kind of, your brain starts to rethink it, and you kind of think like, well, maybe I would be okay moving for them. Like, I loved spending this time with them in person so much, like, and I more than ever like want this relationship to work. So maybe, like maybe I need to, whatever is stopping me from moving, that can be like family obligations, or that can be work obligations, or that can be just fear. Whatever is stopping me from moving, maybe I need to address that and see if there's something that can get me or one of us to be able to move to the other, because we had such an amazing time. And, again, it's all going to come down to communication. So you have that really amazing weekend and you just go, yo, person, like, I got to be real with you. I had the most amazing weekend of my life spending it with you. That was so incredible. And I know, like, we had this prior, like, roadblock, and we, decided that it wouldn't be right for us to date. But like, I can't get this weekend out of my head. And so now, like, can we look at maybe and try to reopen the box and readdress the problem, like check it, like, let's look at it again, and maybe with some different perspective, maybe we'll have a different take on it, and maybe it is something we can overcome. So don't be afraid to say maybe not right now, but let's reassess in the future. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do anything. And that's the beauty of it, right? If you have a really good bond with someone, you don't have to immediately force yourself into a relationship. And I see people doing that, and I think it's kind of a problem. And I think people feel pressured to put these labels on things, but let me tell you something. It's very, very powerful when you have such a good bond with someone and that you don't need to put an official title on it, and you know that things are going to be okay just because you two are, working together on trying to solve this. Like, you both know in a perfect world, it's what you want, right? Like, you have the conversation. You both know, hey, in a perfect world, we're in a romantic relationship, we're together, and we live happily ever after, right? But there are roadblocks, and so you address the problem together. And sometimes, like, you might not be able to get past. Like, think of it like, here, I'll use a video game reference for all you nerds. Think of it like in a game. Like, in a game, like, you see this, like, you get up to this point, and then you can't pass it. Do you just, like, turn off the video game and never play again? No, you probably go do something else, and then maybe you come back later to that roadblock and see if you can solve the problem right now. Like, oh, I need an item, for example, or whatever it may be, So, like, don't just give up and say, well, that's it. But you also don't need to rush into something. So, like keep it at a comfortable level until you figure out how you're going to get past that roadblock. Because I don't think it's a good idea to just say, hey, we're in a relationship when you have what seems to be a very, very, very difficult roadblock. But if you can get by, and if you can continue to keep your bond the same or even grow it even more while you don't have that title, I think that is the sign of a really, really, really strong bond. And it just kind of goes to show that you guys are a good team, and you just need to figure out how to get over the roadblock. And maybe that time will come. Maybe the time will never come. But at least you tried and you worked on it together. And I think that's the key. Just work with the person, communicate, and try to and utilize, like, each other's brains to, like, try to figure out how you're going to get over this hurdle. And, I say the hurdle, and it's not just distance. There might be other hurdles you have to overcome. So just work together. At the end of the day, that's the key, is chat with them and have a really, really good conversation, and just say, yo, how are we going to get through this together? And maybe the answer is we can't. But you know what? I can say there's no downside of that, in the sense that, like, when you guys did that together, you worked on it together, you, like, got through those challenges together, or you attempted to get through those challenges together, I think that's just going to make your bond even stronger, and it's going to make a very, very, very special kind of friendship. Even if the romantic one didn't work out, at least you tried. You know what I mean? So work together with them if it's what you really want. Try. But yeah, I just to go back to the root of the question, do I think it's worth shooting your shot? Absolutely. 100%. You know what? The worst thing that I think the worst thing in the world is to let never ever express your feelings. I've talked about that before. to wait forever and never ask because you think there's a roadblock, when in reality, maybe you guys can get over that roadblock together. But you don't know if you don't communicate. So communicate, communicate, communicate. And I don't, you know what? Even if it doesn't work out, again, you know that that bond is just so strong, and it's a really unbelievable bond. And you know what? I think mystery person, that you and your mystery person that you may have interest in, I think if you guys do mutually have feelings for each other, you could try to figure it out and try to work through it. But yeah, that's just my take on it. And you know, life's hard, man. Life's hard. So that's the reason why I say take your shot, because life is hard, and it's kind of the cliche of like, hey, better to try and know that, hey, you tried and it didn't work out, than to wonder forever, man, what if there was a world where we could have been together, which is a very, very, that is a very scary thought. Give it your all, and if it doesn't work out, it hurts, but you know what? You can move on. You can move on. You can get stronger, and it's okay if it doesn't work out, because you know what? Two people can have a really strong bond, and one of them can not have those same romantic feelings back. And like, I say that as someone who, some really good people have like told me this year about their feelings for me that I didn't share those feelings with. And it's not a bad thing, in the sense that like, there's nothing wrong with, you know, someone doesn't feel the same. It's just kind of a matter of like, yeah, it's not a knock on any person. So like, if you tell this person that maybe this person doesn't have romantic feelings in you, but you know what? It's worth a shot anyway, because at least you can sleep at night knowing, hey, I tried. And if they're really your friend, even, they're not going to hold anything against you for trying, or asking them or telling them you have these feelings. They will be happy that you were honest and upfront with them, and you'll work through it together. Whatever the next step or steps may be, you can work through it together. And I think that's a really, 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 really beautiful thing. So yeah, I guess, we talked about like having roadblocks for something like a relationship, like that mystery person asked in their question of like, we have this distance like that seems insurmountable. So should I just give up and not ever try? And sorry, we talked about that a lot, but I think it's important just to kind of talk about roadblocks in general, and just kind of, I don't know, just not trying things when you can, because I've been guilty of that too. And, it can be really scary, to try something, that you feel scared may fail, like a relationship like that, where it seems, whether it actually is insurmountable, or if it just seems insurmountable because your brain is telling you that. Regardless, it's totally normal to feel scared. And it sucks that you have to feel that fear, but you have to understand that feeling fear is not the issue, and that's normal, and it's okay to feel that fear and to be scared and to not be sure if something's going to work out, or to be you put yourself in a vulnerable position. We talked a lot about vulnerability, and I think putting yourself in a position where it could potentially go badly, or it could go wrong, it's important, because to give examples from my life, like the job I have right now, the wonderful career I've had. It's not even a job, it's a career that I've been in for so many years now. And the only reason I got this job was because I saw, and I remember seeing the application or the like job listing online and thinking, wow, like I don't really have any experience right now. Like the only job I ever had was working at KFC. So I don't have any experience working for a tech company, and I don't have any real world experience working outside of KFC. So there's no way they would want to hire me, right? And so it would have been really easy for me to just say, well, I'm not going to apply because, being rejected feels bad. Dude, being rejected feels so bad. Are you kidding me? And don't think you're weird for feeling bad about being rejected, dude. Everyone feels bad about rejection. No one wants to be rejected. I know for me, it's a horrible, horrible feeling. So like, it's a normal fear to have, but you just have to kind of accept that it's an inevitability of life. And like, if you're not giving yourself a chance to fail, you're not giving yourself enough chances. Like with that job opportunity, like I said, I applied, even though I probably, if we say like shouldn't have, quote unquote, shouldn't have, if I was actually applying based on my merits matching up to what they were looking for. But you know what? I said screw it, and it would be the same. Realistically, it's the same outcome, and it's the same thing with this person. Saying, "Oh, should I take a shot with that person?" Taking a shot at a relationship with someone who it might not work out because of these roadblocks, right? And it's the same idea as taking a shot. Like if you don't try, you're in the same boat as if you do try and it doesn't work out. I mean, listen, I understand it requires a little bit more work because sure, like if you do have a relationship and then it doesn't work out, then sure, there could be some awkwardness or there could be some like different challenges that come along with a failed relationship, right? So I do understand that, but with a little work, you can be essentially in the same place as you were if you never said anything. And it's the same thing. Like I said, with the job I applied for, the job not thinking that I would get it, and then even the biggest hurdle, right? Getting an interview. Wow, I got an interview. Okay, but still, I'm still not qualified. So like I could just go and fail this interview. Should I do this? And I remember that day really well. Going into that interview and being kind of, I don't know what's the right word, being awestruck. I don't know, just kind of like, wow, this is like a really big opportunity for me if I can actually do this. Like seeing the building, seeing like the inside, the people, like, it was like, wow, this could be a really, really big opportunity for me. And I honestly, I don't, I'm not 100% sure why they gave me that shot, but obviously all these years later, the shot paid off. But yeah, it's taking chances in life, and everything in life is calculated, right? You take risks in life, and it's all about calculating those risks. And this is, again, I make so many different poker analogies, but in poker, you have to take risks, right? It's not like you're always going to be in a comfy kind of situation. It's poker. I use the analogy a ton, how poker is so much like life. And just like in poker, in life, you're taking risks, but you're calculating those risks and you're seeing what makes sense. Do I think taking a calculated risk on something that, what's the payoff, right? And in poker, I'll do some poker explanation. So in poker, there's a concept called pot odds. And what pot odds are essentially is you're betting. I'm going to make the calculation very, very simple for you, like a very basic thing. So if there's $100 in the pot, right? I hope I don't lose anyone with this. So there's $100 in the pot. If someone bets $10, right? That means that the pot odds are 11-1 because 100 plus the 10 they bet is 110 to my $10. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little mathy right now, but it's basically the likelihood, like the amount of risk that you're putting in, a minimal amount of risk. Like your payout is potentially 11 times as much as you'd be calling for that bet. So then you can assess your risk accordingly, whereas you might not have an amazing hand, but for that price, for that amount that you'd be paying from the other person's bet, it makes more sense because it's just a little bit in and you can potentially win a lot. And I think the situation like Mystery Person is in, where with that possible relationship, I think you're getting good pot odds in the sense that like your risk is minimal. Like you take a shot and it works out, then you have a freaking partner, maybe for the rest of your life. Like your life has changed forever. And if it doesn't work out, well, what did you lose? I mean, you guys tried it together. And I think it's just very important to be communicative. And I think it depends on the other person too. If the other person is open to the idea and willing to work with you, then I think there's nothing to lose because, again, you're both going in understanding the challenges, and I think again that's the importance of having a real conversation and having a deep conversation about that. Like you both understand the risk, or that there's challenges that you'll have to overcome, or that it might not even work out at all. That you, but you're willing to take that risk together, and you're not alone, and that's kind of the beauty of it, right? That you're not, you don't have to be alone in that scary situation, because it's scary. It's scary to think that, like, hey, this could fail, and even having that potential failure is horrifying. So you have someone else there with you you're working on it together. And I think, again, that's the key, is that you're not alone. You're not handling this alone. And it's not like at the end of the day, like one of you is going to hate the other for trying. It's going to be, hey, we're working on this together. And, maybe it's just, again, that open and upfront conversation about, hey, here's our challenges. And I want to make sure we're both aware of these challenges. And if we move forward with something like this, here's what the challenges are going to be, and here's where we may not make it, and because of these reasons. But if you'd like to try, we can, and we're both aware of the risks. We can try, or whatever you need to do, whether that be, hey, we're gonna just kind of keep things as they are, but we're kind of aware of our feelings, and like we will see where things go, or whether you do feel the need to put a title on it, like, hey, we're going to make it official, but we're aware that it could not last. I mean, different people have an idea of what they need or what works well for them, and it's all about communicating with that person that you're trying to make a life with, or whatever it may be. We use other analogies like jobs, or like, going back to my other previous work example of, like, in 2019, when my department of 60 people got the notice of, hey, we're shutting this department down, so everyone's going to be laid off in a few months. A lot of people just gave up and said, okay, well, that's it for me. See you later. But I didn't let myself be written off, and I made the effort to say, hey, I don't want to be gone. I want to try to make this work. So how can we make this work? So I networked. I talked to people. I tried to figure out what can I do to potentially not, to potentially not be laid off. Like, how can we potentially work this out? And it feels very similar to other examples, like the relationship thing. Like, you are going to try to figure out how to make a situation work. And like, I had these open and upfront conversations with people around my company that I knew I could trust. And I said, hey, I'm aware that there are these roadblocks, like literally my department's closing. Okay, that's a roadblock. I'm aware of that. But how can we potentially make this situation work out? And that communication was key, because then I didn't have to go out alone. I wasn't sitting around just waiting to die or waiting to fail. It was a situation of like, hey, I now have other people here using their brain. And, having a lot of brains is really powerful. And that's, again, kind of where the relationship thing comes in. If you have this person that you're trying to start a relationship with, now you have two brains, and having more people thinking about a situation, and just the kind of the general feeling of not feeling alone, is very, very powerful. And again, the ability to collaborate, like, that's what kept me around with my company, is because I collaborated with all these different people. And guess what? We found something that worked for me to keep me with the company still, and that was now 6 years ago. It was almost 6 years ago exactly when I got the notice. It was early 2019, like probably in January or February. I don't even remember the month now. And what's funny is, like, I don't think I ever posted that on Twitter or told anyone, because I went in with confidence. Like, it was a very pessimistic situation, very bad. But I don't think I ever told anyone except my partner at the time. I'm not sure if anyone else knew that I was looking at, and it's kind of sickening, like the optimism, but positivity, optimism, confidence, like having those things, it sounds very cliche. And I know a lot of people probably roll their eyes when they hear that kind of thing. Like, Oh, brother, here he goes again with the optimism and stuff. But having the right mindset really changes. Like, that was a really shitty situation, right? It was a horrible situation for months. I mean, my job was essentially hanging in the balance. I mean, really, I wasn't even hanging in the balance. It was gone. But guess what? Like, I think back on that time, and listen, I've lived some pretty traumatizing times in my life that actually, when I think back on them, they were really traumatizing. That should have been a traumatizing time for me. But I approached it with such positivity and optimism and like problem solving. Like, I didn't go in just like you're going into this relationship or potential relationship where you're like, oh, there's challenges. Like, in my opinion, don't go in with the thoughts of like, oh, it's probably going to fail. Go in with like, hey, there's challenges, but we want to make this work. I want to make this work. We both want to make this work. Let's figure out how we can make it work. Because that's what I did at my job. I said, hey, I want to still be here. I like working here. And I'm not to toot my own horn or anything, but like, I'm a talented guy. If I got laid off, I could have gone somewhere else probably and got a job. But I said, hey, I want to be here. I like working here. I like the people. I like the environment. I'm comfortable here. How can we make this work? And I brainstormed with people, with managers, with coworkers, and I had other people to brainstorm. So what I would do, mystery person, I would do two things. Number one, work very, very closely with your partner or potential partner and figure out how you can put your heads together to make this work in what kind of timeline. Make a timeline. I know I'm a project manager, so like thinking in like a project form, like let's have timelines and like, like objectives and all these different things, but like it actually works. And so have goals of what you think you would like to accomplish in terms of, hey, I would like to, hopefully be able to close the distance by this time. And here's what we're going to do that financially. And from, someone has to uproot their life situation and all this different stuff. Like, work on the goals and, make a freaking PowerPoint if you have to. Make an Excel sheet, whatever you have to do, even if it seems silly to be doing something like that for not a like a work thing, but like a personal thing like that. Do it anyway. And after, utilize them. But I've also, outside of that, I would utilize friends and other important people in your life, and especially ones who may have had long distance relationships or close that distance. Like I said, Game Orca is like the best example because they literally did that exact thing. So they could probably help with that, or like someone to confide in or talk about what you're feeling, like, etc. I'm not trying to volunteer them to be like your coach, but I'm just saying, like, find friends that you can maybe have done that, or even if they haven't necessarily done as long of a move, like talk to friends who have maybe moved at all for a long distance relationship, or people, if you've never been in a long distance relationship, talk to those people to kind of I don't know, get their thoughts on on ways you can do better. Like I have thoughts on long distance relationships I could share. So I'd be happy to share my thoughts with that. But yeah, so you want to have resources, and you don't want to have only, you don't want to have only your partner / potential partner there. And so it's good to, it would be like if, in the job situation I only went to one person. No, it's important to network. It's important to get different people brainstorming, people you care about, because I had a very close relationship with all those people that I networked with at my job when I was, at risk of losing my job. I had a large network of people that I cared about, that I liked, and that I could network with. And so you hopefully have a large network of those types of people too. People that you care about, friends, loved ones, different, all kinds of different people. And so I would say utilize them, confide in them, get their thoughts and opinions on things. Ask them, is this does this seem realistic? Do you think I could do this? Like, and just get their thoughts. And I'd be happy to share mine as well. However I can help, mystery person. So yeah, I think just get as many people as you can to just kind of bounce ideas off of, and I don't mean like, like whatever people, but like, people that maybe have areas, like there's a lot of challenges with the long distance relationship, and especially with the ultra long distance relationship. So get different input from different people you care about, and having those kinds of inputs will help ease the burden on your mind, because you could go crazy having to try to figure out everything on your own. And it's such a mental, like load off your brain when you are able to utilize others, because listen, it's freaking hard and it's scary, and your brain is moving at a trillion miles an hour or kilometers per hour for you Europeans. Um, but like, yeah, whatever mental burden you can take off yourself just helps you to make clearer decisions. And I can say from my own time collaborating with people in like close situations, whether that be like relationships or work stuff or personal stuff, otherwise, whatever it may be, the times I've really been able to lean on someone else to kind of openly communicate and collaborate with are the times that my brain feels the least burden, and it's so powerful, and it helps you think so much clearer when you don't have an overly burdened brain. Is that a overly burdened brain? Wow. Overly burdened brain. Is that our freaking episode title? That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. An overly burdened brain. Interesting. I like that. Isn't it funny how we every week like we have like me just saying a random phrase and then it kind of sticks and I'm like, whoa, that's the podcast title. Pretty funny. Pretty dang funny. But you know what? Realistically, utilize all those assets. And you know what? Again, failure is a matter. It's a fact of life. Some things will fail, and that's okay. You can still find good things. And you know what? I think you trying this relationship or trying to consider trying the relationship or at least talking to the person, having a real conversation, like, I think you're going to help yourself a lot and you're going to get a lot from the experience. You're going to grow a lot. And again, that's kind of the key. I've had some really, 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 really shitty situations in my life. And I think I've mostly been able to find something good out of those bad situations. And I think that's the key is like when you have something bad happen, figure out what you can get from it. So even if this relationship doesn't work out and it, you know, I think you'll be able to gain a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge, hopefully about yourself and just what you're capable of, and learning about relationships. You know, just because that relationship maybe it doesn't work out because of the distance, it doesn't mean that you'll never be able to make another relationship work out despite the distance, or that you'll never have another one, you know, etc. It just really serves as a way to help you learn and grow. And we all need that. Staying stagnant it's very, it can be very detrimental. I mean, to your mental health, to your mental well-being, all aspects of you. It is tough. So let yourself grow, let yourself try, even if you fail. You know what? I've tried and failed many things, but it still feels good to try. And it's scary to try. I've been trying new things like crazy. I started trying to do music, which is horrifying for me because I just basically wrote myself off and said, I'm going to freaking suck at this. And you know what? I probably less than suck. I'm probably not the worst ever. I'm trying my best to do okay. And it's scary because, failing is very stressful, and I hate it. But you know what? Give it a shot and see what you can learn, see what you can do for yourself, and just, take it where you will, and just kind of hope for the best. But you really have to utilize the resources around you. I know the temptation is probably like, I don't want to burden people, but you need to because people want to see you succeed. And at least where people can help, like when you have a problem, if you have people in your life that you know are good problem solvers, utilize them. And that's what I do in my life. I talk to the best problem solvers I know when I have a problem, when I'm dealing with something that I need to get through or I need to figure out, or it's not a problem. Like I guess the word problem is used a lot, like it's like a issue. It's not an issue. It's just it is an issue, I guess, but you know what I mean? It's not a negative thing that you guys have this challenge hurdle to overcome. It's just something that you do need to overcome to be together. So you have to give it a shot, I guess, and use some brains and take it where it will. And it, you know what? At the end of the day, the scary part is it still might not work out, but you can at least you can try, you know. And I think you'll feel much more rewarded having tried and failed than never having tried at all, which I know is like a cliche saying, and like you probably had failures and you're thinking like that's not true. I freaking felt horrible failing that. But again, the key is going to be, if you do fail, think about it. Figure out what could have gone differently, what could have gone better, what you can do in the future if you have a similar situation, etc. So learn something from that failure. And then, your failures don't have to be complete failures because you got something out of it. And that's the beauty of it. And then for me anyway, that's what encourages me to kind of do things where I might fail, because I know I'll get something out of it regardless. It's kind of like if you're going to get a treat, like you're going to be motivated, right? Because you're going to get a treat. And that treat is some self-growth or some self-knowledge or just something to say, well, yeah, I learned something. I learned something from that. And, it sucked, but I did get something out of it. And so, I'm going to be stronger next time. I'm going to do better next time. And that's the key. This might fail, but then mystery person, next time that you potentially are romantically interested in someone, you're going to be stronger. You're going to be a better version of yourself. And that's the key, right? Keep getting better. It's funny. I used to have a colleague that whenever I asked him how he was doing, he'd say, I get better every day. And I thought it was just kind of silly at the time. I was a youngin', like very early in my career. And I remember thinking it was kind of silly, but realistically, like having that mindset, just telling yourself that you're going to get better every day is really powerful, and it's important. And you should try to get better every day. Just learn a little bit, listen a little bit, look around and just see, an area where maybe you have a little bit of room to improve. And it's very important. You don't need to say, oh, I suck at everything, I have too much to improve on. Well, just take a little something. And when you see something, when you notice something you like about someone, think about itself. Like think about like, hey, I really like how, let's take someone here. Here's an idea. Here's a great example from my previous interaction I had. There was a crappy situation where Toshabi and Yasha and I were hanging out, and I think I've told this story on stream before, but we were at a it was like a boba shop, but I think they had baked goods as well. I was gonna say like a bakery, but I guess they sold boba and they also were kind of like a bakery. So we were getting like boba, but they also had like a bakery section. But like there was a situation where like there was this little girl. She was just kind of like standing there, not at the counter, just kind of standing there. And so, she wasn't at the counter or anything, like she wasn't in line, clearly. So we went up to the counter, ordered, paid, and all was good. And so then, we were kind of like ordering, checking out. And then this lady comes in, storms in, and is like, what? You cut my daughter? Like, are you stupid? She started like berating the cashier. Like, you didn't take my daughter's order. You let these people go in front of her. Like, you didn't take her order. And the cashier was just like, I didn't, like, what? Like, it was just like confused. Like the girl wasn't in line, and the girl wasn't in line. It was just a little girl. I don't know why the mom even had this little girl by herself, but it was a bad situation, right? And you know what Yasha did is he de-escalated the situation and said, yeah, you know what, ma'am, you're right. And it's all good. Like, it's no worries. Let me pay for your order. And guess what? That lady's tone changed. She said, well, no, you're right. Like, it was fine. Like, no one did anything wrong. It's okay. And so Yasha spent like, I don't know, probably $5 or whatever it was to pay for this lady's thing. And it de-escalated the situation. It stopped people from having bad feelings. It changed everyone's tune. So for me, something like that, I can say, well, would I have done that in that situation? Probably not. But is that the nice, like, really thoughtful way to be? Like, is that how I want to treat others? And like, is that a way that I want to be able to better de-escalate situations? Because sometimes in life, I have bad situations that I wish I could better de-escalate, or that I could better handle, or just kind of be a nicer person in general. So like, use examples like that. Like, it was a very uncomfortable situation for me to be in, just even from like a not even directly involved in the situation, but just being there. It was very awkward and very uncomfortable. But for me, I was able to take that uncomfortable situation and I was able to turn it into something for me where I can say, I wouldn't have done that. Like, I don't think I'm a dick or anything, but I guess I'm not on that level of niceness. Like, that's not how I would have handled it. So now I can kind of assess that and say, well, if I end up in a situation like that in the future, maybe that's a way that I can de-escalate the situation. And I learned from the situation of how to maybe be a little bit better of a person myself. And it's not me saying, oh, I'm shit, because listen, so many people, again, tend to think, I have too many things to fix or too many things I can't even do it because there's too many things I need to fix about myself. Listen, just you don't have to fix everything at once. I have plenty of issues myself, but you don't have to fix everything at once. Use those examples in your life when something happens. Take it as an opportunity to say, yo, guess what? This thing happened, and now I'm going to utilize that to learn, to grow, to better myself, and to think about how I can do better in the future. And there's no harm in being able to do that, right? Because I might never have a situation like that come up again. To be completely honest, that may never happen to me again. You never know. But I have the knowledge in my head, and being prepared is such an important thing. I have the knowledge in my head of just how I can do a little bit better and just be a little bit nicer and kind of understanding that people, I won't lie. Sometimes I've had times where like I just get upset, like someone's takes something out of me or whatever, and I think like, well, that person's a jerk. But you have to understand, sometimes people are having a bad day. They might just, and I don't think this lady that was like yelling at the cashier is like a bad person. I think maybe she was having a bad day, or maybe she was a little stressed, or I don't know what was going on. But I say we, but Yasha in that situation was able to take that situation and kind of see it from her perspective and say, well, here's something I can do to, a minimal effort for me to make a situation better for everyone and brighten everyone's day. And that's something I've always tried to do as well. When there's little things I can do to make someone's day better, I do try to utilize the same thing, because life is hard. And I think, from that opportunity, that example, but other examples as well, it's like just learning that when you can make a small, you can put forth a small amount of effort to get a large amount of results. It's very rewarding to do. So I guess just keep learning from those situations that you find yourself in, and just let yourself keep getting better, because it's so important to keep growing and to keep doing better with everything that you can do. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of heavy topics, or heavy-ish topics, or serious topics, whatever you want to say. We've talked about some serious ones, so let's bounce back. It's funny. I like to have the podcast. We're like bouncing around. It's very much like life. You're bouncing from. We started out with a silly little kind of discussion. We bounced to something serious, and now we're bouncing back to just kind of lighthearted, fun stuff to talk about. So I don't know. I just wanted to kind of talk about, again, the year, what we've got, some things I'm excited for. Like, there's so many I've really been enjoying, and it's been such a big thing for me to have this YouTube series that kind of, number one, it feels good to be productive and upload something every day and just kind of be consistent, because I will say, like, I have the guilt of, I have a lot going on, and you see other streamers and stuff streaming 7 days a week, and I'm fully aware that I can't do that with my current obligations in life. So for me, it's been a really, number one, nice outlet for me to be able to say, hey, I produce content every day. I upload a YouTube video every single day. So I can't do a 5-hour stream every day. I wish I could. I wish I had time for that. I have the energy to. I just don't have the time. If the day was longer, maybe, but like, it feels good to be able to do that, but it's also kind of enabled me to play things. Like, I'm playing on Omori right now, and I'm 40 something episodes into my playthrough right now on YouTube, and it's been such a powerful, like, really awesome game that I've wanted to play for so long, but I just haven't really. You have that guilt when you just give yourself time to relax, and you ultra productive people will know exactly what I'm talking about. When you give yourself too much time to relax and you feel that guilt. So I've been able to play this game that I've wanted to experience, and I've got to play it, and I've got to make content off of it, and I've got to share it with others, and people have told me that they like it. And it's just been a really awesome experience for me to be able to do that. And I guess that's one thing that really excites me about this year is like, we're gonna finish Omori obviously, but like I have these other series I want to do as well, like these other things I want to do as well, and it's just like it's very exciting to me. Like I have so much stuff planned in the upcoming weeks, months, and years, however long. We just got a lot cooking. Like I get to do Omori. After Omori, I've got some other games. One Shot being one of them. I've got a few other games I want to play on my YouTube series. I just, I have the podcast continuing. I have Sunday streams are going to be at least coming back once a month to enjoy a nice Sunday together. Like there's so much cool stuff coming and happening, and I get to experience these things. And it's been really nice that I've gotten to experience more games. I mean, because we're all I don't want to say we all, but like most of us here love video games, and I know I'm very passionate about video games, and I haven't had the opportunity to play as many as I like in the past years or whatever because of life being hectic. So having this additional outlet where I can be feeling like I'm productive, I'm uploading content, but also just getting to play these games that I've wanted to play has been really, really cool, and it excites me because it's been a really Omori in and of itself has been an amazing experience. But I know I'm going to have a lot more amazing experiences. There's so many games to play on the stream. I'm just like super happy and excited, and I played Choo Choo Charles for the first time on Tuesday. That was so unbelievably fun. Like it was awesome. Like I'll be real with you. I think that's going to be one of my best stream series, in my opinion. I thought it was a really fun stream, and I personally, in my opinion, I'm a little biased. I'm me, so I might be saying that I'm so awesome because I'm me. I'm a little, I don't know, I got an affinity for myself, but I think it was really cool, and I'm excited to play more horror games. I have some other stuff on the back, not even on the back burner, on the freaking front burner, coming soon, ready to go, and it's very exciting for me. I talked about it on the stream too, but I'm gonna get some help from Yasha about getting my DS modded so I can capture gameplay from it, and that is gonna be such a game changer because I have just the most amazing shelf of DS games over here. I am so passionate. Out of every console I've ever been passionate about, DS is like right there near the top because they did so many crazy things, and it's just been such a fun system for me to collect to get all these really cool games. And it's been a lot of them that I just haven't been able to sink much time into. So I'm so excited about that possibility, being able to play more of those games. Like, for the first time in a while, I actually feel, in a good way, overwhelmed with how much stuff we have to play and do this year for the stream stuff. Like, I don't feel like that we're just going through the motions, which I think for someone who's been streaming a long time like me, some years are obviously better than others. And I think for a while I felt like I was going through the motions a little bit and just like, clicking live on those times, but we weren't really necessarily accomplishing a whole lot. But like this past year, at least the past few months of the year, I felt like we accomplished a lot. And I feel like going into 2025, I mean, we're already in 2025, but starting out 2025, we have so much we're going to accomplish this year. And it's just going to be, I mean, maybe it'll be our best year yet. I don't know. But you know what? We're going to sure dang try. And if it's not the best year ever, it won't be from a lack of effort. And, that's all you can kind of do. But yeah, there's just looking over at my shelf, there's just such a vast amount of games I want to play over there. And I'm just like, oh, I'm excited. But then like, there's also, I really have been wanting to do another Chrono Trigger stream. It's been so long. Like I want to play Chrono Trigger again. Like there's just so much to do. And Kingdom Hearts is going to be such a big part of 2025 as well. Like I think my goal is at least to play Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2025 as well, which I know those are both going to be long-ish series as well. So is it viable? Yeah, it probably is, but it's gonna be a lot. So maybe we'll do a couple short series. I don't know. Maybe I do a little Spyro trilogy something. Should I do Spyro? I don't know. I might even just go Spyro next. Something that's very lighthearted, fun, easy to play, not too stressful. Then do I go straight into Kingdom Hearts? Chain of Memories after that? I don't know. It's like I'm a planner, right? You guys know me. I plan a lot, but I don't necessarily hard plan my stream like long-term look. Like I have ideas. Like I still really Hollow Knight is like way up high on my list of things I want to play, but I don't. It's such a long game as well. Can we realistically do that? You know what I mean? And get anything else done? I don't know. And that's the scary part. And is Hollow Knight going to get pushed again? I don't know. It might happen. I don't know. Or maybe later this year. Maybe we could go Spyro trilogy after this, and then. But I wonder if I should space it out. Maybe we do Spyro 1, then we do something else. Then later in the year we'll do Spyro 2. Maybe. I don't know. Like I feel like we need some short series here sprinkled in between our long-ish series. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we can do Kingdom Hearts, and then we'll do another horror game. But the other day we'll do Spyro, and then we'll go to Chain of Memories in like a couple months, and then we'll have Spyro 2 on the other day. And then when we beat Spyro 2, maybe we'll do like a horror game on the other day while Chain of Memories is still going, and then we'll do Chain of Memories, and then we'll do Spyro 3 on the other day, and then I don't know, and then Hollow Knight in the summer, and then Kingdom Hearts 2 later after that. I don't know. So yeah, for you newer people, you might not know, but I used to do two. Well, I used to only do one thing. Like if I was playing Kingdom Hearts, I would play Kingdom Hearts on both days for months. You know what I mean? Like so. If we were playing like Chrono Trigger, for example, took up like 2 whole months of my stream, we would only play that every Tuesday and Thursday. And then I went to having 2 series going on at once. So like on Tuesday would be one full series game. It'd be like Tuesday is a Hollow Knight and Thursday is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. But then I realized having a more flexible day was kind of ideal. So then we went to have a main series game on one day, and then on the other day we have a little more flexibility. So maybe we play like something short, or we do like a one-off stream, etc. But I do think having Sunday streams back to some extent gives me a little more flexibility there to have more one-off streams on Sundays, which enables me to focus more on main series games on the weekdays, maybe. Like 2 series, like one longer, one shorter, maybe. I don't know. Well, you know what? I think that's the beauty of streaming, of content creation, all that stuff is like, you don't really, truly, none of us fully know what we're doing. We're just kind of trying our best. We're just, giving it a shot and seeing what the heck we can figure out on our own. And it's not always easy to figure out, but you know what? We're gonna try to figure it out. So there's just a lot of good things coming, and for me, I'm hopeful. So I don't know. Maybe we just figured out the whole year stream schedule just right here on my podcast. I'm not sure. But then I really have been craving playing Chrono Trigger soon. It's been several years. Last time I played was 2021. We ended 2021 with Chrono Trigger, and guess what? I want to play Chrono Trigger more. I want to have a Chrono Trigger stream for the new people. So maybe we'll do Chrono Trigger 2. I don't, maybe we can get everything else done and have time in the end of the year to play Chrono Trigger. Maybe if I'm a good boy, maybe we'll have enough time. But I think we're gonna achieve a lot, and I'm excited because Omori is just going so unbelievably well. It's just such a cool game. That is a game that has made me feel, and if you guys know me, I freaking love feeling. Feeling is so good, and that game has given me a lot of feels. So I don't know. It's just I guess it's just me chatting with you guys as though you're in chat. I'm imagining you're here in chat with me typing stuff out. But instead you're not in chat. It's just me and my void talking about life and talking about what we've got planned, which I think is going to be a whole lot of good things and almost too much good stuff. Almost too much good stuff to count. But you know what? We're going to do our best, and I don't know. There's so many things to balance. When it's kind of like that example I gave earlier, talking about like problems. Like you think you have too many problems, so you don't address any of them. Like I try not to think about all the things I have to do, because otherwise I get a little overwhelmed. So I just take it one step at a time. We just take it nice and easy, take it nice and slow, and we see where the road takes us. And you know what? I think it's going to take us somewhere real good. I think the other thing we just need to figure out is like what kind of community nights we can do. Like, I want to definitely do more movies. Like, I watched so many movies in 2024 that I definitely want to do a lot more kind of silly. You guys know me, I love horror, so I kind of want to do some more kind of silly-ish horror nights. So I hope maybe if you guys watch this and you listen to this part, you can give your thoughts of like what if that's something you'd be interested in, or maybe other things you might like to do. I know I've talked a lot about that we're going to do a Lethal Company night sometime soon, so there'll definitely be that. Among Us is a given, like 10 bajillion Among Us nights in 2025 surely, but I think it'd be fun to do more kind of movie nights like we did on Chili Mex's birthday as well, because that was a ton of fun. And I think there's definitely a joy. And last year, we did that. We also did the Ring movie night that one time with Chili Mex and Cal and the squad earlier in 2024. I don't really remember what month that was, but it was a lot of fun. So I definitely want to keep it light. Like, I don't want to watch anything too scary that people who don't like horror might be uncomfortable watching. But I love silly horror. I mean, I guess we can do other genres as well, but I guess that's my area of expertise is like silly kind of horror movies. So I definitely have some ideas for those. I wonder when would be a good time. Maybe I don't know. In February I'll try to host one. I think I'll figure out a day that seems to be good, and we can do that. Because the thing for me is like there's so much to balance between my own things, like my own quote unquote projects, but then at our core we're a community, and I talk about it a lot, but like doing like community facts, like I always talk about how community facts I think is like the greatest idea I have ever had. Because I've never seen another stream do it. And, most things are borrowed from others. Other streamers borrow them from other streamers, or like even in video games, people borrow ideas from other people. Community facts is like the one thing that I actually cooked up in my own brain. I've never seen anyone else that has it. Maybe someone else does. But it serves us so well because at our core, you're never going to get an ultra mega high production value from me. It's just not me. You're going to see me talking. And that's why the podcast has been so in my wheelhouse too, is because you're not going to get the most super ultra high produced content from me. You're going to get me talking as I will, saying what pops into my head. But, at its core, caring for others and welcoming people and wanting people to do things as a community to grow the bonds, because like there's nothing more powerful. And I'm someone who like, for so long, like, I mean, I was just a young, I don't know, 15, 16-year-old kid when I made my first community in Counter-Strike, like taking a bunch of random people and just making a community. And so I fully know how powerful community is. And that's why that's always been the focus. The focus is not on me. It's just an outlet for me to, I don't know if like what the right word is, but like I have an outlet to stream and like to interact with you guys, which I love doing. But at its core, like, sure, I'm the quote unquote leader, but there's a much smaller divide between myself and like everyone else, I think, compared to other communities potentially. Most, not all, but a lot of them, where it's like the streamer is like the ultra famous, and then everyone's just like on their knees, like worshiping him. We're not at our core, we're not like that. And it's just, we're all equals. I talk to you guys. I hang out with you in VR meets or whatever. I hang out with you in game nights in the server. Like we're all on an equal playing field, which is what I've always wanted. And so, yeah, like, I guess doing community stuff is at its core like an absolutely essential part of what I do. And, if you people who listen here and also are in those chats, you always see me every once in a while. I just get real spicy. I go into like, there's like a game night community chat or something. I don't know I think that's what it's called, but like there's like a private channel for those people. And I go in and I'm like, yo, we need to get something scheduled. Let's get something going, boys. And, listen, I'm going to be honest. Usually it's me saying, like, hey, Kel, or hey, Chili Mex, or hey, someone else. Like, we need to do something. Like, get on it. It's like me politely giving them work to do. But realistically, I want to also pull my weight. I have pulled my weight a little bit. I mean, I did Chili Max's birthday and Otterly's birthday all on my own. I pretty much solely organized those. So cool job by me on those. Thumbs up. At least I can celebrate birthdays really well. Listen, I love birthdays. I get passionate about those, and so those ones I can do. But I want to try to be better about generally hosting things, and it's interesting because I'm sure the people who host those are like, oh, it's not that much work. Like, we're happy to help, but I want to pull my weight too. I never want to feel like I'm giving others work that they might not want. So, I pledge to do my best to host more things myself. And I would hope that my loving community, aka you guys that are listening, will give me some ideas. If there's something else that you would like to do more of, like, we did Jackbox. That was really fun. You want to do more Jackbox? We did like that drawing thing. What's that? Is it Gardic Phone? Is that what we did? Like, there's that. There's so many cool things we can do. Like, if there's another game you want to play, like, we always do a lot of the same stuff, like Among Us, or like, we'll do Lethal Company, or a lot of the time people play Overwatch or whatever it may be. But is there something else you'd want to do? Like another crab game could be fun. I don't know if we could get enough people to do it, but I really love playing Crab Game. If you guys haven't played Crab Game, it's like a free version on Steam, but it's basically like Squid Game. It's really silly. It is so unbelievably silly to play. I love playing that game because it is just so silly. It's so goofy. You know me. I love goofy things. So for me, that's like peak gaming. But I don't know. Like, I always wanted to play Gary's Mod with people. Like a Gary's Mod thing could be really fun. There's just so many games, like, and maybe we can find some more stuff to do. I don't know. It's just fun to try new things with y'all. Like we haven't really done a lot of, like, for example, like Jackbox and stuff, but it was really fun the last time we got to. Do people play what's that? Not Gang Beast. What's the other one? Party Animals. Do people play Party Animals still? We have like a Party Animals night. I think we did Fall Guys custom lobbies one time in my stream. I mean, that would be fun, but I don't know if people really like that too much. But there's just so many cool things. Should we do another golf night? Golf with your friends? Yo, golf night? I think golf night would be a good one too. You want a golf night together? Let's do it. Let's do a golf night. I would love to. I would be so unbelievably happy to do a golf night. I love golfing. Golfing is, like, honestly one of the peak like chill Saturday things to do. Like, it is so peak chill. I love it. So maybe we can do that. I would like to. How about how about it? What if we do it? You want to do it? You want to do it? Huh? You want to do it? Huh? Want to do it? Let's do it. But yeah, I don't know. There's so many things. So I just encourage you guys to give me your thoughts and let your voice be heard, because I don't want to be the one assuming what people like based on what I like. Like, I like silly horror movies, so we're going to have a silly horror movie night. If you think that's stupid and you don't like watching those dumb horror movies and you just want to, like, play Overwatch instead, I mean, that's fine. I respect your thoughts. So, I hope that you'll let your voice be heard and we can collaborate, because collaboration, listen, we talked about collaboration was such a big part of this episode. I think, like, it's very important to collaborate. So let's collaborate together and let's figure out what we can do together to have fun and to continue to I don't know, just be able to bond. All of us bonding. Like, there's very few things I enjoy more than a successful game night on a Saturday where everyone's able to hang out, because I think a lot of us want to hang out, all of us as a group, or most of us as a group, and we don't get the chance to too much. It's kind of like, I mean, it's a good metaphor for real life. You have your, like, friends and friend groups and stuff, and then sometimes, like, life is just busy and you don't get to, like, all get together as a group very often. So for me, it's very, very special when we can all get together. The latest one being our Among Us, which was like 3 weeks ago now? Wow, time goes really fast. But we got to do that, and it was so incredibly, awesomely fun. I had such a good time. I hope you guys did too, but it was super awesome. and it's always nice. So I think we're getting a little we're getting close to the point of like it's about time for another community event. So maybe we will book something for I don't know. I'm not sure when. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll fire it in there. We'll fire an event up on the calendar, and we'll make it work. I guess, realistically, for a while and I've been thinking about this. Like for a while, I was like very much on the train of like, oh, the podcast episode has to be exactly 2 hours, because it's how it goes. But like it doesn't have to be exactly 2 hours, and there's no pressure for it to be. If we get close to that, that's totally fine. And I feel like, we're just gonna do our thing. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I really lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh, I really, really, really lost my train of thought. Oh, that was bad. I just really lost my train of thought talking about that. But yeah, like, oh, okay. I know what I was going to talk about. Yeah, the housekeeping stuff, like, what's to come. So I have a couple guests tentatively-ish planned. I think the first 2 to maybe 3 episodes of the year are going to just be me because I have a lot of other stuff going on. So I'm trying to make it easier on me. And the benefit is when it's just me, it's easier for me to schedule with just me than try to schedule around someone else as well. I know that's kind of sounds bad, but like other people have different schedules. And so like what works for them might not work for me and vice versa. So it's easier for me to schedule around those little small crevices of free time that I have. So it's just a little easier to schedule in that regard. So there will be guests coming. I have at least 2 to 3 in mind. But I'm not exactly sure. We'll probably have at least a couple episodes of just me. So I hope you'll be okay with just seeing me for the start. And then we'll figure it out as the year kind of shakes out. There's a lot to do. So we'll figure it out together, I think. You know what? I think we will. Do you think so? I bet you do. I bet you do. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to be about it. I think that's going to be a wrap on episode 1 of 2025 of the what did I call this thing? vaRAIety podcast. I couldn't remember the name of my own dang podcast. But yeah, no, a lot of good stuff coming. And I think, like I said, we'll put a less hard cap on the episode. If we got 2 hours, if we got 3 hours, there's never been an upper limit, but I've always put that bottom limit. So I think I'll have like a little more flexible bottom limit in the sense that, like, you know what? Some episodes might be, I like to think of it like a movie. You know what I mean? Like there's always like a floor, like the shortest movies are still usually like an hour 20, an hour 30 minutes. But they can vary, they widely fluctuate. Sometimes it's an hour 27 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour 52 minutes, and I think that's what we're going to go for with the podcast is like, there's no 2 hour minimum. It's more like maybe an hour and a half minimum, probably. And if we have a little more, then we'll talk for a little longer. If we have a little less, then maybe it'll be a little shorter. We'll just figure it out together. Like we do so many things in life. We're just going to figure it out together and see where the road takes us and enjoy the time together. I know I'll be enjoying the time with you. I hope you'll be enjoying the time with me as well. And let's just see where the road takes us. But yeah, until then, thank you so much for listening to this first episode of the year. There should be hopefully 25 more episodes throughout the year. So, hooray. Yay. Yay. I hope yay. Yay. Is it yay for you too? It's a yay for me. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Much love. And I will talk to you very, very soon. Take care.